What's going on, YouTube? So beside me is the 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee 2-row. This is all new for 2022, and we've reviewed the 3-row several times on our channel. You might have already seen it, but this is also not just any Grand Cherokee 2-row. This is the first electrified Grand Cherokee ever made, the 4xe. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into this review of this pinnacle Jeep Grand Cherokee. So let's start out here with the exterior design. Now this particular model is the fully loaded Summit Reserve. So this is the Mac Daddy Grand Cherokee that you're going to be able to find. And with that, you're going to get a very premium design. You know, it's all the signature Jeep elements, and you're going to have a lot of chrome to signify that you have that full model. So up here in the front, we do have our signature Jeep 7-slat grille. It's going to have a lot of chrome trim. And then to distinguish the 4xe, you have this right here, just the blue outlining of the Jeep lettering here. So that's going to be a very subtle hint that you have the 4xe model. Checking out your headlights, these are going to be full LED headlights as you would expect out of something with this price tag. They are going to be the reflector style, however we do have LED turn signal indicators as well. Dropping down, we also have some LED fog lamps. Now working our way around to the side design, you will notice that all of the lower panels are going to be body color since we do have that high-end model. And let's check out our wheels. These are going to be some gorgeous wheels that you get with this high-end Grand Cherokee. These are 21-inch. They have a really nice contrast finish. You have your silver trim, you have the black pieces in the middle. And then coming up, this is going to be your bigger deal. This is your charge port. As you can see, you have your E branding right here. You can pop that open and charge up the battery so you can maximize this plug-in hybrid's abilities. Now, as far as your mirrors, they're going to be fully loaded. You have all the features that you would like, blind spot monitoring, as well as turn signal indicator and power folding. Then here at the side, this is where you're going to notice, of course, this is the 2-row instead of the longer 3-row model. As you would expect, it is going to be shorter in length than that version. And then as far as other elements that will kind of clue you into that this is the 2-row version, you'd have this piece that kind of swoops down and goes into the back. This is going to be blacked out regardless of which color you choose. I know this particular model is going to be black, but it does give it a really cool look. It almost is floating if you go for like a white exterior color. Now, as far as the rear design, going to have that signature classy Jeep look that we've grown to expect from some of their newest products. Nothing's going to be super different for the 4xe besides, once again, for that blue lettering here in the back and the 4xe badge here on the left side. As far as the taillights, these are going to be full LED. Beautiful design, including your LED reverse light and turn signal. Dropping down, we have integrated exhaust outlets inside of the body color piece right here. I don't have the specific tow rating, but I can add that later in as a text box. And let's go ahead and hop inside and check out this beautiful interior. Now, like I said, this is the fully loaded Mac Daddy Summit Reserve, and you're going to notice that here in the inside of this model. It is absolutely gorgeous inside of here. So I'll give Drew a second to hop on inside, and then we'll check it out. I did actually find that tow rating, the maximum tow rating for the Grand Cherokee and its 5.7 liter V8 engine combo is going to be 7,200 pounds. But let's talk about this interior, since this is an absolutely gorgeous cabin. I mean, this is probably hell, I feel like I'm in a Wagoneer, honestly. It's so nice in here. And let's just check out the materials. We have leather on the full upper portion. We have stitching details goes through this. Of course, we have that passenger display. I'll talk about that in just a second. More leather trim, open pore wood, more leather going all the way through here. Then let's look at your door trim. We have beautiful leather on the upper part. We have open pore wood, more leather, diamond stitching, and I know you won't even be able to see it, but it goes leather all the way down to the floor. I mean, this is next level luxurious. I also love the way they put the wood in the steering wheel as well. Now, let's also break down some of the information about this. We have a digital gauge cluster here in the middle. You can, of course, reconfigure this in all of the different designs. We've seen this in other products like the Grand Cherokee L. It's a nice digital gauge cluster. We also have a head-up display since we have that fully loaded Summit Reserve model. Coming back to the steering wheel, big fan of the way this looks. I love the overall design. We even have a leather-wrapped airbag cover, which is super premium. Nice buttons on the side, the wood trim I was mentioning earlier. And then let's check out the interior storage for this. If we pop that open, we have a nice center console here. Could fit maybe a few coupons in there. And then if we open this up, that will reveal a larger area inside of here that's also nicely felt lined. Now we also have a cup holder in the front of that. Then we have a little bit of more space up here in the front, if I can get it open. This is going to be your wireless phone charging pad, as well as a few other connections, a 12-volt outlet as well. And then this is going to be your shifter. For reverse, you just push that button right there. You do have a 360-degree camera, as you would expect. And then this is going to be your display. This is a 10.2-inch display. It's running the newest Jeep software. As you can see, it's very fast and responsive, high resolution. It also shows some of your climate controls redundantly up here at the top, so you don't even have to see them down here. We also have a really premium Macintosh audio system. As you can see, you do even have illuminated lettering, so that's really, really fancy. This Summit Reserve is all about just being very fancy and very bougie, extravagantly so. Another thing I want to point out is that we do have massaging seats. I'm actually getting a back massage right now, so that's something I failed to mention earlier. And the seating itself is going to be a very premium leather. We also have some diamond stitching. We have Summit spelled out embossed into the back. I mean, this is a gorgeous seat design. Let's also point out this passenger display. This is a 10.25-inch passenger display. You won't be able to see it since there's no one sitting in the passenger seat, but this will be able to run various streaming services, so the passenger can have an integrated display to watch whatever they want to. Moving our way up to the dashboard, we have nice suede headliner up here at the top for the Summit Reserve, as well as a panoramic moonroof. Now hopping into the back of the Summit Reserve 4xe Grand Cherokee, it's going to be a very premium place to spend time. Don't want to sound like a broken record, but this is all about that premium experience. I don't have any of the specific specs for this product. We will have that in our full review, hopefully coming to the channel soon. But let's go ahead and just rudimentarily, is that even a word? That might not be a word.
I'm not sure you can actually use that
Maybe
word
not.
in that way. I'm not sure.
But let's go ahead and break down some of the features that you're going to get. We do have 4-zone climate control, another really premium touch. A lot of luxury vehicles don't even give you that. Heated back seats and ventilated back seats. Guys, I think that might be one of the only vehicles that's a 2-row that has ventilated back seats. Then we also have vents down below that. We also have all the connections you could ever desire, plus a household style outlet. Rear window sunshades, a really impressively awesome door trim, diamond stitching, wood trim, more illuminated speaker grills. Guys, there's really nothing to complain about in terms of luxury. Once again, I don't have the specific cargo dimensions, but I'll go ahead and show it off back here. As you can see, it's actually a quite impressive amount of space for this 2-row model. Of course, since it is 5 inches shorter than the 3-row, you're going to have a little bit less maximum cargo capacity, I would assume. But really, it doesn't seem to be drastically different. And of course, it is also finished really nicely. We have very premium carpeting along the floor. And then we also have a spare tire up underneath it there. But guys, let's go ahead and take this 4xe out on the road and see how it drives.
So we're taking off here with the new Grand Cherokee, the 2-row version. But this is not just the ordinary Grand Cherokee like Mason was discussing earlier. Importantly, this is the 4xe, so this is an electrified version of the Grand Cherokee, and that's something that's not available with the 3-row that was on sale last year. Now with this model, you're going to get a really good amount of power, which I'll demonstrate as we kind of come out into this straightaway, and I'll punch it a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, so that was up to about 60 miles an hour, and yeah, really nice power output. This is going to be 375 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque when we're talking about the total system. So that's going to be, of course, your electric powertrain in combination with a turbocharged 4-cylinder engine.
Yeah. So if you're looking as to what actually makes the 4xe, it's going to be a 400 volt 17 kilowatt hour battery pack on board. That is good for 25 miles of all electric range for the 4xe model. And then of course, like Drew mentioned, you have the 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that, as you saw, kicked in, because the battery is mostly drained today for this plug-in hybrid, since we're doing this towards the end of the day. But theoretically, if you have a really close 20-mile commute or so to work each day, you might be able to do this Grand Cherokee fully in electric mode.
Yeah, and even on a day where your battery gets depleted, this still does run as a hybrid. So you'll notice the engine will still shut off at different times as we drive along through this route, especially since we're going real slow, low speed here in the city.
Country, rather.
Well,
the canyon run.
There's the suburbs, or what, I don't know what you want to call it. There's people around, so I'm calling it the city.
Now, I also want to mention your ride quality, in terms of other things than the powertrain. The ride quality is really, really impressive. So this is available with a class exclusive air suspension. So you can get an air suspension, which does also help with your off-road ability. And in terms of your ride quality, it's absolutely fantastic. This truly is a luxury SUV. Whether you think that a Grand Cherokee is a luxury SUV, well, sit in one of these and you will probably change your mind, because the Summit Reserve really just ups the ante on how premium this cabin can be, as well as the just overall ride quality. It rides like a luxury SUV. And then now we have a lot of different powertrain options, which help it to have powertrains like a luxury SUV as well.
Right, and Jeep has really been on a mission to move itself upscale, and you can continue to get relatively affordable versions, of course, of the Grand Cherokee, but the Summit Reserve is targeted towards a full luxury kind of buyer, being able to get something with this type of equipment on board. So we're accelerating right now under full electric power, gently, since we're in hybrid mode. I think
there it goes.
There goes the motor at about 30 miles an hour. So yeah, you can certainly get pretty good full electric operation, even with the battery depleted, if you're in a city situation.
Yeah, and I also want to talk about your two other engine options. You have a 3.6-liter Pentastar V6 standard equipment on the Grand Cherokee. The other option is a 5.7-liter Hemi V8. So if you're not all about the electrification and having that better fuel economy, get the Hemi V8, which we all know sounds fantastic. You can get that, of course, on a Summit Reserve like this model. Now, do keep in mind, though, if you choose to get that 5.7-liter Hemi, you are going to sacrifice your tax credit. So I'm not exactly sure if this qualifies for the full $7,500 tax rebate, or maybe if it's just a little bit lower, but the 17 kilowatt hour battery pack will get you the vast majority, if not all, of the $7,500 price decrease on your taxes. So that's something worth considering. Now, I also want to talk about some other efficiency things. So if you use a combination of the battery pack, fully charged up, plus the motor, you're going to expect 56 mpge. If you're just using it in hybrid mode, so you have a fully depleted battery, you can expect 23 mpg. It's fast, it really is. It has a lot of torque to the engine. It doesn't have quite the Hemi V8 growl, that's for sure, but
nor quite the refinement of the Pentastar. But the idea, of course, is that you would be driving around most of your day-to-day under electric power, and that's, of course, a big benefit these days with gas prices the way they are.
And we're also going to have an 8-speed automatic transmission on board for this model. Real nice and smooth. As you can tell, we haven't even mentioned it up until this point in the test drive part, so that tells you pretty much everything you're going to need to know about how smooth it is. Now, in addition to that, I also want to discuss the pricing information. So, all of this luxury isn't going to come cheap. It may be a Jeep Grand Cherokee that can start at a more affordable price tag, but the Summit Reserve is a full-blown luxury SUV, and indeed it is going to have a full-blown luxury SUV price tag. We're looking at a base price of $69,820 for the Summit Reserve 4xe. However, we have a few options on that. Excuse me, just the 4xe, I guess, is $69,000, because the Summit Reserve group is going to add $4,480 on that. The Luxury Tech group, $275. The Advanced Tech group at $2,235. And all told, when you add in the $1,795 destination, which is a little bit steep, you're looking at $79,000 for this Grand Cherokee. Now, do keep in mind you do get that tax credit, so that reduces that price down a little bit, but this is still not going to be a cheap vehicle by any means.
Well, in all, we've really enjoyed our quick drive with this all-new Grand Cherokee 4xe. We look forward, of course, to testing it out fully, so make sure you go ahead and go down below and click the subscribe button right now, because that's going to make sure that you see our latest content. So when we review this model, you will know. And you'll be able to watch it, and you will be happy. So make sure you go ahead and do that. And follow us on TikTok and Instagram while you're doing that as well. But anyways, guys, thanks for joining us, and see you again when we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.